Chapter 1. One joke too far. The wine was flowing, the laughter was easy, and I was the life of the party, just like always. It was supposed to be a harmless night, a girls-only wine evening where my friends and I vented about life, work, and men. My husband Simon was in the basement, quietly working on exam prep for his students. He always gave me space for these nights, called us the Coven, in jest, never with malice. And I never once stopped to consider what I was turning into when I had an audience. We were deep into our second bottle when Sienna kicked things off with her usual complaints about her boyfriend, and soon the others followed. Brooke, Carmen, Natasha, they all added their gripes. And then it was my turn. Natasha turned to me with that smug grin and said, "Come on, Mads. You never share anymore. Still getting rocked by your history teacher husband?" I could have said something kind. Something true. But instead I sipped my wine, leaned into the spotlight, and said the thing that would detonate my life. "Oh honey," I smirked. "There's a reason I call him my fun-sized husband." The laughter hit like thunder. Encouraged, I kept going. I compared Simon to cocktail shrimp. Joked about having to ask if we'd even started. Mocked his job, his car, his everything. Each line landed harder than the last. I was flying drunk on attention. Not on wine, on cruelty. Then I heard the creak of the basement stairs. And everything stopped. Simon stood in the doorway. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even hurt. He was just hollow. His eyes didn't flare. They dimmed. Like a light had gone out for good. He walked silently into the kitchen, poured himself a glass of water, and faced me. The clink of the ice cubes felt louder than anything I'd said that night. "Thanks for the reminder," he said calmly. "I deserve better." And then he walked upstairs. Quietly. Methodically. As if every step was a final goodbye. The room was silent. My friends looked around nervously, chuckling awkwardly. But I couldn't laugh. My chest was tight, my mouth dry. 20 minutes later, I heard the garage open. The sound of his Prius backing out. The same Prius I'd just ridiculed. That was Friday night. And I never saw Simon again, not as my husband. Chapter 2. Echoes in an Empty House. I didn't sleep that night. I laid in bed staring at the ceiling, the silence louder than any argument we could have had. No text from Simon. No sound of him coming back. Just the weight of what I'd done pressing down on my chest. By Saturday morning, panic replaced guilt. I called him, no answer. Texted, nothing. I drove to his brother's apartment, thinking maybe he'd cool off and come back. But when I knocked, his brother stood in the doorway with a look I'd never seen before. Not anger. Not pity. Disgust. "He's done, Madison," he said, blocking the entrance. I tried to explain, tried to laugh it off as a stupid joke, but he didn't flinch. Not this time. Not after that. I stood there in the hallway stunned. Simon's car was parked nearby. He was inside. And he didn't want to see me. I thought I could catch him before practice Sunday morning, so I went to his school. The assistant coach stopped me in the parking lot, said Simon had called in, for the first time in 3 years, and left a message for me. Just 7 words. "Tell her not to come here again." That's when it hit me. He wasn't mad. He was heartbroken. And I had broken him. I scrolled through our old texts on the drive home. Messages where he sent me good luck before meetings, reminders to eat, silly memes. My replies? Half-hearted. Cold. Dismissive. And I thought I was the successful one. When I got back home, the place felt hollow. His coffee mug wasn't by the sink. His lesson plans weren't scattered on the table. His basketball shoes weren't by the door. It looked like someone had erased him from the home we built. Sunday night, a message came in. From Simon. Sent at 2:03 a.m. I heard everything, every word. For the first time in 7 years, I finally understand what you really think of me. Thank you for the clarity. I reread it 10 times. Clarity. That word kept echoing in my head. He thought I'd loved him all this time. Thought I respected him, admired him. And I made him feel like a joke. I stared at the text until the screen dimmed. Then I curled up on the couch, knees to chest, and sobbed into the dark. Not because I'd been caught, but because he was finally seeing me the way I feared he always might. And now that he saw the real me, he wanted no part of it. Chapter 3. The Mirror Cracks. 5 days. That's how long it took for my perfect world to start crumbling. The silence wasn't just from Simon, it was spreading. Carmen stopped texting. Brooke said her boyfriend was disturbed by the whole thing. Natasha took a break from social media after someone from Simon's school posted a vague but pointed comment. Support the ones who lift others, not those who mock. Then Simon came by the house. I wasn't home. I found out when I walked into the kitchen and saw his wedding ring on the counter next to a folded note. Please communicate through my lawyer going forward. Just one line. So final. So clean. I stood there staring at the ring, that small circle of gold, and realized it wasn't just a symbol of marriage, it was a symbol of faith. And he had none left. News spread fast at his school. Natasha's boyfriend worked there. Said people knew something had happened, just not the specifics. But that Simon had been deeply hurt, and his co-workers were rallying around him. One of them changed her Facebook profile picture to him with his team. The caption read, "Supporting our coach through difficult times." I saw a clip of him at practice, coaching like nothing happened. Except there was something missing in his eyes. That brightness. That warmth. And I'd extinguished it. I tried one last time, his favorite Thai food in hand. I went to his brother's apartment. His brother met me at the door like a wall of stone. "My brother is the best man I know," he said. "Every time we tried to tell him how badly you treated him, he defended you. Made excuses. Said you were just stressed. Not anymore. He's done making excuses for someone who makes him feel small." Then his wife appeared behind him. She'd always been polite to me. "Not anymore. You made him feel lucky just to be tolerated," she said. "Like you settled." He cried, Madison. "You made him cry." Those words pierced through everything. Not because of shame. Not even guilt. Because I had never seen Simon cry. Not when his father passed. Not during job stress. Not even at our wedding. And now, because of me, he did. That night, I found his Paris anniversary surprise buried in his email drafts. Flights, hotel, a handwritten note. "I want to give her the world because she deserves it." He was planning forever while I was planning punchlines. Chapter 4, Pages of Shame. My therapist asked me to write down every time I belittled Simon. 3 pages. 3 full pages of jokes, jabs, and digs. About his salary, his car, his clothes, his hobbies. His dreams. His friends. His family. And worst of all, his body. The more I wrote, the more it burned. I thought I'd been playful. Witty. Funny. But I was cruel. Systematically cruel. Simon shopped at Target. I mocked him for it. He painted miniatures for a tabletop game he loved. I called it childish. He talked about opening a youth center, a dream he'd held since college. I told him it was unrealistic. That no one funds that kind of nonsense. All of it chipped away at him, and he never fought back. He just smiled sadly and carried the weight. And still he loved me. Sienna came over one night. Still defending me. Still convinced I'd done nothing wrong. "All wives complain," she said. "Men are just too sensitive." But I was done listening. "When was the last time Simon said anything bad about me?" I asked her. She paused. Thought. I don't think he ever has." "Exactly." I asked again. "When was the last time I said anything kind about him?" Silence. Then I asked her to leave. I blocked Sienna that night. She wasn't a friend. She was a reflection of the worst parts of me. Of all of us. A toxic circle where we competed to see who could be the meanest, hiding venom in jokes, mocking our partners to boost our own egos. I had called it girl talk. But it was just abuse in disguise. That night I found a video online. The school's banquet from last year. Simon had won Teacher of the Year. I watched him take the stage, eyes sparkling, heart open. He thanked me. Thanked me for supporting his dreams, for being by his side, even when he earned less, even when life was hard. The camera panned to our table. I was on my phone. Not even listening. He had been planning Paris. I'd been planning my next insult. Chapter 5, Nothing Left to Defend. 2 weeks passed. The divorce papers arrived. Clean, uncontested. Simon wanted nothing. Not the house. Not the money he put into the renovations. Not even the art we chose together. Just his personal belongings and joint custody of the dog. That was it. I signed with shaking hands. Then I met him, one final time, at a Starbucks near his school. His brother came with him. Simon looked different. Stronger. Healthier. His shirt was new. His posture confident. He looked like a man who had let go of a weight I never realized he was carrying. I launched into the speech I'd rehearsed for days. About my childhood. My insecurities. My trauma. I got halfway through before he held up his hand. "Madison," he said softly. "Stop. This isn't about that night. That night just confirmed what I've been feeling for years." He told me I was ashamed of him. I denied it, but I couldn't speak. Because the truth was, he was right. He pulled out his phone. Showed me screenshots. Texts I had sent to my friends. Another boring teacher party. Kill me now. Simon's wearing his Target special again. This is my life now. Sometimes I wonder what it'd be like to be with someone ambitious. He'd read them all. For years. Quietly. Alone. Each message another blade between the ribs. Then his brother leaned in. Show her the other folder. Simon hesitated, then opened a second album. His messages. But not to me, to his friends. Madison made partner. I'm so proud of her. She crushed her presentation today, treating her to dinner. Lucky doesn't even begin to cover how I feel. That was the difference. While I was tearing him down to my friends, he was lifting me up to his. Bragging. Celebrating. Loving. I lifted you, he said. You buried me. He stood to leave. I begged. Sobbed. Told him none of it was true. I know it wasn't, he said quietly. That almost makes it worse. Then he looked at me one last time. I'm 31. I have a job I love. Students who believe in me. A future I finally feel good about. I deserve someone who sees me as a man, not a punchline. And then he walked out. His brother stayed behind for one last gut punch. He's already dating again, he said. The art teacher. She brags about him constantly. Shows up to every game. Thinks he hung the damn moon. And the thing is, he did. Chapter 6. The giant I couldn't see. Today would have been our 5th wedding anniversary. Instead, I'm sitting in a modest apartment in Colorado, staring at my worn-out suitcase and a wall calendar filled with therapy appointments. The nonprofit I work at doesn't pay much, but for the first time in my life I feel like I'm doing something that matters. I work with at-risk youth now. Ironic, isn't it? I once mocked the man who dreamed of building a youth center, and now I find purpose in the very thing I belittled. Simon did it. He built his center. I watched the live stream of the ribbon-cutting ceremony. He was glowing, speaking about dreams, about community, about how the right support system can change everything. The art teacher stood beside him, eyes shining with pride. They live together now. His brother accidentally mentioned it when forwarding my last box of things. She volunteers at animal shelters. Drives a beat-up Honda. Shops at Target. Everything I used to mock. Everything I thought was beneath me. And she looks at him like he hung the stars. Because he did. I lost 12 pounds. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Until the therapy started working. Real therapy. No excuses. Just truth. And the truth is, I was the abuser. The mocker. The narcissist in the relationship. Not loud, not physical, but corrosive. Slowly, steadily chipping away at the man who only ever wanted to love me. I got an email from Simon last month. Through his lawyer, but personal. He forgave me. Said he hoped I found peace. Said the youth center could always use volunteers, if I ever wanted to help. I cried for 3 hours. Not because I thought we had a chance, but because that's who he is. Still kind. Still generous. Still the better person. He's dating someone who builds him up. Who helps him chase his dreams. Who shows up to every game and brags about him to anyone who'll listen. They've been together 6 months. She already does what I failed to do for 7 years. Sometimes I wonder what life would have been like if I just loved him the way he loved me. But wondering doesn't undo damage. I met someone recently. Nothing serious. Just a kind man who listens. I told him about Simon. About what I did. He didn't run. He just nodded. Said he understood. That he'd been there too. We're both healing. When my coworker mentioned her husband's stamp collection, I asked to see it. She lit up. It's the little things now. Daily acts of grace. A quiet war against the old me. I won't take Simon up on his offer to volunteer. That's his world. His dream. His peace. But I donated anonymously. Not as penance. Nothing could make up for what I did. But it felt like the right thing to do. Simon was never small. Never weak. Never less than. He was a giant. And I was too small to see it.